Okay, here we go again, episode number 13 of From the Doghouse. Hi, Annie. How are you?
Great. How are you,
Very
Patrick?
good. We have had another busy, successful week here at Woofer. And as we know, the world of AI has been running 100 miles a minute. And Annie and I have been sending a lot of Instagram posts back and forth. Almost seems like almost every day that we're sending a post around something new that's happened in AI or something new that's happened in Anthropic or something we want to try. We're very curious and very interested in AI, and Annie was able to jump in and try something completely new this week. And so we thought for this episode, we talked through what Annie has uncovered and learned and brought in, that's not the right word, brought to Woofer. So anyway, talk about your love of AI agents this week.
Yes, big love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's been I think a really interesting week for me because as you know, Patrick, we are and have always since we started working on this business prioritized building with AI. And so, our product, our technology is obviously very heavily supported by Claude.
Mhm.
We are I thought we were doing a pretty good job of using AI already in our day-to-day operations. And we're both very heavy users, like Patrick said, of the technology, not to uh, you know not to sound like AI, but to use it so we can actually scale better and be
Mhm.
smarter about how we're building this business. And so I was actually feeling pretty good about myself until earlier this week when I took this course. And I do continuous education in a lot of parts of different areas of my life, and AI is one of them. And I just uncovered this new person that I've started to follow and sign up for this course. What I uncovered is that I'm completely clueless when it comes to AI. And I am learning a completely new language, a new way of thinking about how to prompt and how to create more automation in a more structured way. I've certainly been guilty of, using chat often like a buddy where I go like, hey, what are the best practices in social media? Blah, 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 and we expect to get a result back that is useful. But really, we're just using it like Google. We used to use Google, right? That's sort of the first level. But what I learned this week, I think, is that we should be thinking about when we're building, when we're utilizing AI, we should think of it in four levels, which I think is hugely helpful. So I'm hoping to pass on this wisdom to you. The first one is what I just described. You go into the chat, you write something, you get something back that can be very helpful for little things. So, for example, if you want to create a skill in Claude that says, create a calendar entry for my meeting with Patrick on Monday and invite Patrick, that doesn't require any insider knowledge around Woofer. That doesn't require anything except knowing how to use the skill of calendar entry, and creating a calendar link. That's it. So that will be the first level, and you can think of it almost like a contractor you hire that knows nothing about you, and they can just execute. And then the next level is where you give it a brain. So you give it context to operate within. So you start to, for example, if you're wanting to write content, you would give it the ICP and the buyer personas and, context around your business. What do you operate? What's your messaging house? All of those things that would help that brain that you're giving it to think in the context of your business. And that would be in projects include which I've been already using to a degree. Then the third level would be to actually give it connectors, so to give it access to the tools that you use so it can actually execute on the task that you give it. So it could create, I don't know, an email nurture or something like that in HubSpot, or it could have access to your Google Drive. And then the fourth is to actually let it run by itself. So and this is like the dream come true, right? When the task is completely operated and works without you ever doing anything. And I think what has been really transformational for me is not this knowledge. I think that that's interesting. and it's something that probably most people already knew to a degree. But thinking about it, like, what is the task at hand that you actually have? What are making a list of what are the tasks that you do every day that you don't want to do, that you have to do every day, like write Instagram posts or look at a report or look at your calendar, look through your inbox and reply to emails, things that you do every single day. And which of these four levels is the right level to apply for this time kind of process in your life? So not everything is necessarily an automatic thing that you want to do. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a very simple task, but just putting it in that frame of those four things and then progressively discovering what you can automate and then automating that and keeping the things that require your input in more manual mode. That's just been a huge learning for me this week, I think. And also now is inspiring me to think in agents that I'm creating and skills that I'm creating for our business that are specific roles that I would be training normally if I would get a human in, right? So I would be training them on our standard operating procedures, how I would like to have them do things. And now I'm thinking about it more, okay, if I was creating this role and I was creating this individual and I was training them, what would I have them do and what things do they need from me input wise, but what other things they can do without me completely. So that's my little contribution to the world. So I think the wisdom I want to pass on, think of it in four levels. Not every task deserves to be at level 4, but when you think of it in that way, you will be able to identify very quickly what are the tasks you don't want to do, what level should it be in, and then create an agent for that. So there you go.
And I think something that would be quite interesting is if you have created AI agents, you, the people listening and watching, have created AI agents, let us know how it's worked for you and what you've learned from it, because we're finding that they're going to be incredibly helpful. And just this week, after Annie, has been learning these classes, we just spent the past couple of hours thinking about how we can streamline one of our really critical operational processes that is time consuming right now. And we've already found at least 4 to 5 ways of using a new AI agent to be able to help us with streamlining that significantly. So it's already being put into place. So thank you for that, Annie. And I think it's very interesting to hear how people are building their own ways of creating these streamlined processes and agents. Like building AI agents is pretty fascinating. Before 2 weeks ago, I didn't really think about building it as an agent, but you're pushing us beyond thinking that simple thinking, I would say. So yeah, so good week.
And I think just one thing before we close out. So right now we're running 5 agents that are completely autonomous. There's a number of others that we have that are not autonomous, but there's 5 that are running right now for us. What my advice would be, start with something very simple that you do every single day that is, annoying to you, and just automate that. Don't think about it, you're building a CMO that's autonomously creating your brand strategy. Like, no, don't do that, but think about something very simple you do every day. Maybe it's just looking at your inbox, looking at your calendar and creating a briefing for you, just telling you what has happened overnight or what has happened in Slack and summarize that. That can be a very simple agent or a skill that you can run automatically that takes even half an hour out of your day. You know what? That's half an hour gain for something else you could do. So,
exactly. Yeah. All right. Very good. Well, thanks for listening, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.